Hi everyone, I'm doing my John Maxwell, and today we're focusing on security. So security in the Bible is about security in the Lord. It's not about security in worldly goods or in worldly things. But secure leaders believe in ourselves and we believe in our people. We're confident in our own strengths and we're realistic about our weaknesses. We're able to appreciate the talents of our team members and to accept our own shortcomings, our limitations. So that's important to remember as we begin this new chapter. I didn't do it earlier because I kept my Christmas things up for as long as I could. I like having my Christmas tree up and the Merry Christmas and all that, but I decided, you know what, it's Lent now, I better take everything down. So I used this whole day basically to clean and to spruce up my apartment, clean my tables, vacuum, and just put everything away. So that took up most of my day. And I went out for a walk because the weather is nice today, finally. After weeks and weeks and weeks of cold and snow, it's so nice to have the sunshine. So as we begin this new chapter, I just want you to think about what does security mean to you and how do you value security? I know that here in Canada, we're going through an unprecedented time, and I've been faithful to our government and to Justin Trudeau until they started listening to bad advice, accepting policies that are hurting Canada, and they turned against Justin Trudeau. What they did to him doesn't make sense to me because they all revolted against him because they said they were supporting Chrystia Freeland. And then, now they've gone and they voted in who? The Old Boys Club, Mark Carney. So I sure hope he doesn't come into power, because if you just look at all the advice that Justin Trudeau has been getting, Mark Carney has been advising him. And all it's done, it's led to increased food bank usage, increased crime, increased drugs, and it's sad to see your Prime Minister get stabbed in the back and to see him get bad advice and then to see the country implode. But that's what happens. That's how God punishes when the leader that has been elected starts getting bad advice and he doesn't see through that. And in order to keep power, he takes that bad advice and then the nation suffers. And I've given examples from previous chapters of how that happens, why it happens, and it's sad. It's sad for me, and I'm angry about it. And Mark Carney is not my Prime Minister. Maybe he'll be voted in as Prime Minister down the line, but I sure hope not, because Canada is a country that is rich in resources. It's got good educated people. And people like me have worked hard to build this country up. Even if I'm not working, even if my job has been taken away, I give in other ways. I do Maxwell leadership talks, I volunteer in the community, I do other things that help Canada, including my volunteering. So, like everybody, I'm waiting to see what happens, but I'm very, very angry to see how this country has been ruined and how people are saying, oh, it's good, it's good. How is it good to be a welfare state and to have people like me who are educated sitting at home and not be earning a living? And it's really awful and it's really disgusting. And people that help to make these decisions, they don't want to talk about it, because they looked after their own interests. Why would you like somewhere like Cuba, where the majority of the people are poor, so you go there with your rich US dollars and you have a nice time, and then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, because there we kings, so you have the money and you can treat people however you want, and then when push comes to shove, it's like what's happening to me. Even my own mother said, oh, I can't remember, I don't know what you're talking about. So they're willing to sacrifice my life and the lives of people like me when it comes to harassment, when it comes to situations that we're dealing with, rather than take responsibility. And it's sad. It's really sad to see that happening to this country. Because when I came to Canada, Canada wasn't like this. Yes, there was always some discrimination, but not to the extent that it's happening now. And so what did Justin Trudeau do? He taught them a lesson. He's left us with so much debt. It's going to take generations to come out of it. That's what he did. And he listened to his speech that he gave. Look at what we've accomplished together. What did you accomplish together? You've left them with debt that is unprecedented. You've left them with decisions that are putting the most vulnerable at risk. I mean, really and truly, I know they hurt him, but what it's done to this country is terrible. It's awful what's been done to Canada. It really is, and it's really sad. It's like what people have done to me. Oh, we can't remember. We don't know what you're talking about. And it's time for people to stop making jokes about things. Because what happened with TD Bank being spoiled, with the bank going into hefty fines, all of that was avoidable, but they had too much of their big shot culture to actually take time to get off their high horses and to appreciate the public and to appreciate people who are on the outskirts and the margins and help us to come up in life. What happened to me shouldn't have happened to me. It shouldn't have happened, and even the police don't want to see me at the police station again because they know what's happening. And all the truth came out about Credit Suisse, about the murders, about the money laundering. The truth came out. And you know what? Boris Becker shouldn't have gone to jail. He shouldn't have gone to jail. First of all, English is not his first language. Secondly, how many millions of people keep money in an account somewhere and maybe they don't recall or maybe they forget to disclose it? They sent him to jail for so long. It's sickening what's happening in this world, and it's sickening what's happening to my life. Because I can tell you now, I am worthy of holding a top job and earning good money. And I always was, and I don't deserve that some stupid company in Puerto Rico or some Brazilian place, wherever the setting up of IDs were outsourced to, couldn't set up my ID, so I had to freaking lose my job. I'm sick of it. And then when I call my mother, she says, oh, all our prayers have been answered. And when I ask her why, what are you talking about, she doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, really and truly, I'm tired of it. I am really tired of it because it's people like me who are suffering. The people who sponsor our mothers, who bring them to Canada, who do our work, who are honest, who are ethical, we are the ones who are suffering. Not the ones who turn around and say, oh, we can't remember, we don't know, oh, we tried to fix your ID. No, we can't set another one up because it might take a month. And then what's going to happen? Then you're going to bring me back into the company and expect me to work on minimum wage? I'm not going back, and I'm not taking minimum wage. I'm not, because I'm tired of it. It's time that things changed, and it's time that people who are faithful to the Lord got the rewards and got the benefits. And I'm glad that Donald Trump has taken a stand on some of these things, because our non-profits and whatever the money is going to, it shouldn't go to corruption. It shouldn't support churches and organizations that are making their own bank accounts fatter while people like me can't get jobs. It shouldn't support corruption and greed. That's not what the purpose of it is. It should go to the people who need the help and who need the money, including people like me in Canada. Because we don't jump off the system, we don't take advantage of people, and yet we cannot get decent work, we cannot get decent jobs, and it's completely unfair. So he should find out where the corruption is, and he should root it out and expose it. That's exactly what should happen. Because it's not fair to make people die who really need the help and who are really good and really honest and hardworking. It's not fair to punish us because of the corruption in our governments. It's not fair. And this is God's judgment. And if you don't believe me, you can go on YouTube and you can see all the predictions are coming true. The tectonic plates are moving under the earth. The scientists are saying they're moving faster than they should be. That's why we're having so many earthquakes. If you see birds migrating and leaving when they're supposed to be coming back, you know that there's going to be a natural disaster because that's what animals do. You just have to see all the predictions that are coming true because people don't want to return to God and they don't want to do things God's way. People are happy to live together, not be married, just carry on living in sin, have a marriage and have a friend outside the marriage. That's why all this is happening. And all these diseases that we have in the world now, which had gone away, like scurvy, diseases from bats, diseases like monkeypox, measles, all those diseases had gone away. They're all coming back into the world. Why? And how do they just come up just like that? It's God's punishment. And I'm saying that with confidence, it's God's punishment. And if you don't believe me, carry on living how you're living. Because people like me don't deserve what's happening to our lives. We don't deserve to have to take out loans at 35% interest because we can't pay our bills. We can't pay our rent when we could be working and we could be in decent jobs. That's why this is happening. And people like me are not going to stop speaking out about it. Even the aid that they're giving to Africa, there's no KPIs, there's no accountability. It's just like, oh yeah, we're going to give this aid to these countries. And most of the time, it doesn't go to the countries that are peaceful, the countries that have the right values. It's going to people where the ministers want it to go to. That's why we have to share our stories and we have to speak up. And we have to say where we want the aid to go. Because at the end of the day, we vote the government in. So it's up to us. They just do whatever they like. MAID is so high in this country, people cannot believe it. Medical assistance in dying. It's so unfair what's happened. And I've worked hard. I've worked hard since I've come to Canada. Even if I haven't been working, I've been volunteering. When I am not volunteering, I'm doing other things in the community. I'm not going around committing crimes, lying to people, lying about harassment. I'm not doing all those things. So I want things to change and to get better for Canada. That's what I want. Whatever aid we give, whatever we do for Africa, that should be after taking care of home. It shouldn't be at the expense of our jobs going to Africa, because the environment here has been created where there's high crime, where people are not accommodated for religion, not accommodated for health. That should not be the case, because in South Africa they don't take it. They should try to do what they did to me in South Africa and see how far they get. They won't get very far. They just won't, because it's wrong. It's wrong to do what they're doing, not only to me, but to many, many people in companies in this country. And the ones who speak up, the ones who tell them there's money laundering or there's racism or there's discrimination, we are the ones who get punished. It's wrong. It's wrong. I'm sorry, but it's wrong. This case study today is on Moses and his siblings, and it's Numbers 12, 1 to 15. So the study question for today is, why did Miriam, the older sister of Moses and also a prophet, speak out against Moses along with her brother Aaron? How much do you think it really had to do with his Cushite wife? So Moses was in charge. Moses was the leader in their community, and the Cushite was not of their own tribe. So Moses was faithful to the Lord. It tells us in the scripture, Moses was faithful to all of God's house, including the Cushites, including the outsiders, not only to his own people. And so Miriam was speaking out because she was a prophet, and she wanted to know, why is it that only Moses is getting this authority? But she was also, in a way, by doing that, rebelling against Moses. So there may have been some friction because the Cushite wife was an Ethiopian, not a Jewish woman. And this would have affected Moses' authority and leadership in her speaking out against him. The second question is, if you had been in Moses' place and your critical siblings had been punished by God, how would you have felt? Justified, protective, empathetic? So most of us who love our siblings would not be happy even if we saw them suffering. We would be protective of them and we would be empathetic towards their suffering. Because that's how people who love each other are. The third question is, what does it say about Moses that he immediately begged God to heal his sister? So it shows that Moses wasn't concerned about the worldly authority. He cared about his sister and he wanted her to be healed. He wanted her to be well and free from the stigma and the shame of leprosy and the punishment that was brought on her for questioning his authority. The fourth question, the passage says Moses was more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth, yet his actions were those of a completely secure leader. How do you reconcile these two facets of his personality? So I think when people think about humility or being humble, they don't understand that being humble means being humble to God, not being humble to men. It doesn't mean that we have to not be confident or we have to not talk about our gifts and our talents and what we can do. It doesn't mean that. And sometimes people will take it that way. But because he knew that he was faithful to God, he trusted in his leadership abilities, and he was also still humble before the Lord. So that's why he could ask for the healing of his sister. And you see that instead of God completely ostracizing Miriam, she was sent outside of the camp for 7 days, and then after that she was brought back. So that in the Jewish tradition, and it says that in the scripture, that would be like a father spitting on his daughter's face. That's what it would be like. And when she's brought back into the camp, then they move on. So that shows you that she was healed after spending that time outside of the camp, because with leprosy, in those days, if somebody had leprosy, they wouldn't bring them back into the camp and they wouldn't move on with them. They would have just left her out and continued their journey. So that shows God's faithfulness, it shows God's love, and it shows Moses' security in God. And in these times that we're living in, that's how we have to be as Christians. If it means staying outside of the church for a while, if it means doing other things, then we have to do that, because our allegiance is to God. Our allegiance is to returning to God, especially in this time of Lent. And we don't have to support the sin. We don't have to support what other people are doing if we believe it's wrong and we know it's wrong. We don't have to support it. We can stand alone and we can stand with others in solidarity. But again, it's up to us, and it depends on what commitment we make to the Lord. That's really what it comes down to. It doesn't mean the discrimination is going to go away. It doesn't mean the hurt is going to go away. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be fixed overnight. But it does mean that we have to keep trying to build up our communities, because people like me are not going to be happy sitting at home, not earning our own living, and not being able to provide for ourselves. It's just not going to happen. We're going to keep looking, we're going to keep working, we're going to keep putting our messages out there. We're going to keep standing in solidarity with others who know that work is a blessing and know that people can't take advantage of us in the workplace. We will continue to speak out. People are forming unions. One of the guys that I volunteered with on the One campaign, he's a union organizer. So workers are tired of it. We're tired of people treating us like we're just products and we're just there to brand ourselves and market ourselves and do what we're told to do. Because we're also educated, we're also faithful to the Lord, and we also want to use our gifts and our talents. And we don't want people to do us down and then say, oh, we can't remember what happened. That's not right. And if people have problems with our brothers or our sisters, they must address it with them directly, not complain to us. Because we are not going to go and admonish them and correct them and then be punished on top of that because we tried to bring them back to the right way or try to speak to them about what other people want them to do. Because that's what happens to me. People come to me to tell me about all their problems and their health problems and their problems with people in my family. And then if I take it up, I get punished. So I'm not doing it anymore, and I've made that clear to everyone. I'll pray for them, and I'm moving forward with my life because it's not fair to me. Because they don't end up having a problem. They'll go on holiday together and they'll enjoy their lives, and if they don't see me for 10 years or I'll end up living on welfare, they don't give a damn. So I put my faith in the Lord, and I will keep putting my faith in the Lord, because at the end of the day, I've only got one life to live, and I am not happy about what's happening in Canada and what's happening to me. It's completely unfair that I can't get a job in this day and age. With my skills, with my qualifications, with my credentials, I am more than capable of doing a job search on my own and finding a job. But what has been done has been created by other people, not by me. I deserve to be treated with compassion and gentleness, and I deserve to have a good paying job, just like everybody else that's worked hard. Not the criminals, the drug addicts, those who are deliberately stealing from Canada, including gold heists and taking the money and the gold out of the country. But that's what's happening in Canada today. And it's a punishment, because when people like me speak up, we get people coming down on us, and it's completely unfair. And this is God's judgment. People have to learn to live the right way and to have right relationships. And I don't know why people keep having me tracked. Do they think I'm going to go and live with someone? Because if I want to, I will. God will judge me for it if He wants. I've never done anything like that, and I don't deserve what people are doing to me, and it has to stop.